Hello students, welcome back to English language teaching class. So today our topic is textbook method. In my previous video, I have spoken about the concept of teaching methods in English. Now today I will deliver my lecture on textbook method of teaching. So let's understand it. Now let us see the introduction of textbook method. The textbook method of teaching is one of the oldest method of teaching. Simply put, this entails using a textbook as the primary source of knowledge for a class. Typically, the teacher reads aloud from the textbook, explaining each page as they go. This can be accomplished either through a lecture format or just by having the students read the content and engage in class discussion. The textbook is not just a book, it is a tool. It is a medium and instrument that the teacher uses to present the subject matter to the pupils. It is the basis for planning the course of study, for lesson planning and for evaluating pupil progress. Textbooks are also an essential influence on pupils. They provide pupils with a ready-made source of information and ideas about the world around them. They present a given view of life, of people, of events and of problems. Now look at the meaning of the textbook. Here is a slide. A textbook is referred to as a book with extensive content that is read or taught in order to teach a specific subject. For example, science, chemistry, English, Sanskrit or history topics. In other words, textbooks are also known as school books since they contain the information that is taught in classroom. Now look at the definition of the textbook. A textbook is technically a teaching tool that offers activities and resources for students in all subjects. The textbooks serve as the central focus of all curriculum learning activities. This method of teaching is the most psychologically advantageous for children because it is both teacher and child centered and allows for activities. In textbook method, a teacher begins the learning process based on the student's interest and mental capacities as well as their age. Now, what is the importance of textbook? Look at on this slide. The textbooks that are necessary for teaching learning process as well as the specific textbooks that are beneficial for teacher preparation must be used by the teacher. As a result, textbooks are crucial. A textbook in any manual of teaching is any manual of teaching that covers a specific area of study and is organized logically, and it is designed for use at a high level of education and serve as the primary source of study material for a particular course. Textbooks are essential to the educational system and assist students to develop in moral, intellectual and spiritual ways that are in harmony. In order for youngsters to genuinely find interest in textbooks, they must be both full of essential knowledge and information and attractive in quality and presentation. Indeed, creating a textbook is a work that calls for technical expertise. Writing textbooks, especially for youth, requires lots of love and labor. Textbooks have become all the more important because of the explosion of knowledge. There is too much to learn. Textbooks provide the services of the experts in the form of concentrated, sifted and logically arranged knowledge which otherwise would not be possible by direct experiences. Now look at the phases of the textbook method of teaching. What are these phases? To meet the need of teaching and strategies, 3 phases of teaching methods are suggested. What are these 3 phases? Before reading the textbook, while reading the textbook and after reading the textbook. Now let us see the phase number 1, before reading the textbook. The following factors should be taken into consideration when a learner begins reading a book aloud while speaking or silently. Both the teacher and the learner should be aware of the reading desired target. A connection between the learner's prior knowledge and the material being taught today must be made by the teacher. How much the learner already knows about the current learning approaches should be made clear with regard to the discussion of science and examples. Different types of questions must be used to this end to encourage the teacher to consider the second part of the subject. By describing the key concepts of the subject, the student will receive assistance and be prepared to read the lesson's material, which first seems challenging. He will also become the center of attention. It is also important to introduce the idea of the half subject of teaching and the terminology employed in it, as well as to make clear how modern conceptions relate to current self-subject concept. Phase number 2. While reading the textbook. It is essential to keep in mind and attention to the following issues when you are required to begin reading aloud from a textbook in class or for homework. In a classroom with many students, care should be taken with the print line margins or spacing between words and lines. Self-correction should be taught, meaning that both the right and the incorrect should be communicated. Questions should be asked on important points and the information should be encouraged to the written down in the textbook instead of making students busy making separate notes. Active reading technique should be taught to senior students, explaining key information and salient aspects of text structures and encouraging them to record information on lesson maps. Phase number 3. After reading the textbook. The moment that pupils finish reading for both class and homework, encourage the students to summarize the lesson in their own words or in writing, and have the learner complete the map and be taught to complete the highlighted section and headings of the map and course material. Rereading the stuff you have highlighted should be encouraged, and the questions pertaining to facts and concepts should be presented to the students so that they can accurately respond. Now look at the guidelines for effective teaching method of this textbook. Textbooks should be utilized to instruct pupils, but they shouldn't be only the source of information. It should not be regarded as the main source of instruction, but rather as a guide. And one should always be prepared to modify, eliminate or add to any topic in the textbook. There should be other educational resources employed in addition to textbook. Now look at the advantages of textbook method of teaching. The textbook approach is still one of the most used despite the fact that there are many other ways of instructions, and research has also shown that there are several benefits to use textbooks. So what is the first advantage of textbook? The first point is the straightforward way to teach. So teaching in this manner is really simple and students can take notes with ease because it is very simple to follow. And the second point is the short amount of time. So this method of teaching can be quite effective at covering a lot of content in a short period of time, and it is well defined also. A clearly defined learning process is used in the textbook teaching style, and this method is concise also, and this textbook method approach to teaching is known for being highly concise. The information that teachers require can be quickly found and they can be confident that it is correct, and it is adaptable also since and it can be used with many educational philosophies, and it is effective method. Studies have shown that using a textbook as a teaching tool helps people learn more efficiently than other teaching methods, and of course it is affordable. The use of textbook in the classroom is very very cost effective. Textbook can be used repeatedly and are frequently far less expensive than other educational aids, and the explanation of objectives is written in the textbook as an outcomes of the curriculum. So overall, using a textbook as a teaching tool is easy, efficient and inexpensive, and it is useful in a variety of teaching scenarios and offers several benefits. Here are some disadvantages also of this textbook method of teaching. So look at these disadvantages also. So the first point is that it is sometimes it is boring. So the textbook method has the disadvantage of being quite boring for both the teacher and the students, and the majority of the time the teacher simply reads from the textbook and the pupils simply take notes. So the child might not pay attention, and as a result, which could prevent them from learning as much as they could. And it is less engaging also. There is less interaction between the teacher and the pupils while using the textbook method of teaching, and usually the pupils are only listening to the teacher's lectures. So because of this, it could be challenging for the pupil to clarify concepts, and they don't grasp by asking the questions. And sometimes it is considered as outdated also. One of the biggest advantages of a textbook is that they can be out of date, and information in textbooks can become outdated quickly, especially in the subjects of science and history. This can be a problem for students who are trying to learn current information, and it is sometimes stressful for students. Also, the textbook method of teaching also has the disadvantages of being quite stressful for the students, because the rich information in textbooks might make students feel as though they must memorize everything in order to perform well on exams and quizzes, and this may be result in a great deal of added strain and stress. So thank you very much for watching this video. We will come up soon with another video. Till then, bye bye, take care, have a nice day.